Good morning, Brad Phillips here with Puppy Steps Training, and we're going to be doing Lady's demo today. Of course, I'm very excited to send her to you. She's just a wonderful puppy. I've really enjoyed having her a little bit longer, and she's just been fun to take home and play with my puppy and take him out hunting. So I think you're really going to enjoy her and be really happy with where she's at training-wise. Of course, I'll let her out here in just a few minutes. First, I want to talk about a few things, then we'll go through the whole program. Just remember, of course, she is still a puppy, and so there's definitely going to be that maturing and that growing that has to happen. And also just to be patient with her, especially as she transitions into your home. The important thing to remember with the transition is consistency, and that's really the secret to all dog training, is being consistent. And that's both consistent in rewarding as well as consistency in correcting. And of course, when we correct, we use the word no or nope, and I treat that somewhat as a misdemeanor felony. Regardless if she does something wrong, she's going to get a correction. Now, the severity of the correction depends on the behavior that she performed. If she were to just break a stay, of course, I'd just tell her no, and I'd have her do it again. Whether, or on the other side, if she were to jump on me or try and steal food out of my hand, I'd be a lot more firm in the way that I present that no. And the way that I do that is by adjusting my voice fluctuation and my body language, giving her more of a commanding tone. And of course, when we reward her, of course we use treats, we use toys, we use compassion. For her, birds were a great reward. But also, okay is the marker. And so when she's doing, of course, commands, when she's finished, I'll tell her okay and then give her a reward. So we'll talk about socialization just for a second longer before I get her out. Now, socialization is very, very important with any puppy, and of course she's had a little bit extra just because you are going to have her as a hunting dog. Nope, don't show him that. Good girl. Nope. I'm just going to give her a bully stick because she's trying to chew on that leash, and so I'll talk about that in a minute as well. So socialization, that's just the beginning stages of our training. The first 2 weeks that we had her, of course, as well as she grew at my house, I implemented it as well. Just making sure that she's going to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Making sure we expose her to new sounds, new places, new animals, people, car rides, just a variety of new things. Just making sure that we don't have any anxiety issues or timid behavior, as well as aggression. And she's just done really well with that. Of course, along with that, we also did some gun breaking, and I sent you those videos. She did just wonderfully. I took her out hunting on Saturday. She was right there when we shot that first rooster, and she was just so excited to run up and grab it. As soon as Allie dropped it, she was all over that bird, so that was great to see. I think you'll be happy. Of course, she's got a long road ahead of her for the hunting training, which you should be able to do that as the season progresses. It should just turn out great. So along with that, now I will get her out and we'll talk about her manners. Now, the first manner that we're going to cover is her gates and her doorways. So anytime I let her out of the crate or we go through the house door, I do expect her to hold a stay. Should be an automatic behavior. I shouldn't have to tell her anything. If she did try and break, I might simply close the door, might simply lift my leg. It wouldn't be unless she was really persistent on pushing her way out that I'd actually tell her to stay. So we'll let her out. Okay, good girl, good girl. Now I will show you the house door when we go outside. But the next manner that I'm looking for is actually what she's doing right here. Anytime I call her over, before I give her any attention, I expect her to sit. We call that her greeting. That way she's not going to be jumping up on me, she's not going to be wrapping me up with a leash, but most importantly you get her eye contact, which means that you get 100% of her attention. She's just focused on you. You can give her a further command, or just go down and pet her and greet her. But I do wait for her, all four paws on the ground, sitting, before I go give her any attention. Oh, that's a good girl. That's a good girl. Now, the next manner I'll show you is her meal time. And so anytime I feed her, I expect her to hold a sit stay. And so I'm going to drag her over here, ask her to sit, and I'll tell her to stay. No. If she breaks, I'll just tell her no and pick it up. Okay, good girl. Good girl. Now, the meal is such a powerful tool, really. Such a high food drive. The meal's exciting. Really use that to your advantage when you're working on stage. You can really drag those out. We have what we call the 3Ds, and that's distance, duration, and distraction. By adding those three things, you build a solid stay. Good girl. I do like to switch it up with her mealtime. I like to stick my hands down in her food bowl. Sometimes I'll just come and I'll throw a treat in. Just want to make sure that it's a positive experience with me being right here as she eats or being around her instead of a negative, and that way we don't develop any food aggression. Along with that, not necessarily during her mealtime, but I do like to make sure that I handle her, both her ears, her paws, tail, just anything that could be considered, that she could get aggressive over me handling. I want to make sure that she's not going to be aggressive towards me. I don't want to see her growl or try and bite me or anything like that. I want her to be completely comfortable with me handling her. And of course that's huge when you have to clip their nails, or in this case, pick burrs out of their face. Good girl. Now, there's only one other type of aggression that sometimes people that come up and people kind of mistake it for aggression, and that's with kids. Children are like the greatest thing to a puppy. They run, they squeal, they make things a lot of fun, and so your puppy just wants to play along. They end up jumping up on them or grabbing an arm or a pant leg, and so I want to make sure that I prevent that as much as possible. And so I make a rule that when children play with my dog, they have to have a toy. That way it gives her something to go after, as well as if the child gets scared, they can just throw the toy. Good girl. Good girl. But that's just going to save you what could be a disaster if something were to happen. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Now we will talk about jumping for a minute, because with any puppy that's just one of those huge behaviors that you really have to take care of. And we've spent a lot of time with her. We've taught her the command off, and so if she were to jump up on you or even up on your couch, just tell her off and expect her to get down. This would be one time that I would use a physical correction. If I could grab a hold of the leash, or if you're walking her and she tries to jump, I'll give her 2 taps on the leash. You're not trying to yank her off or pull her backwards, but you're just giving her 2 taps on the leash, mainly getting her focus back on you, and then accompanying with the command off. Now, it's important that if she is going to jump, that you never step backwards. As soon as you step backwards, you're encouraging that jump. It turns into a game. Instead, I'll always step into them. That does 2 things. One, it restricts the space. And so a lot of times you're going to throw off their timing. They won't jump anyway because it's all just, they're too close. If they do try and jump, they're going to be straight up, and you just need to bring your knee up into their chest and block them. A lot of times it won't happen, but kind of the goal is you actually want to put them onto their back. Scares a lot of people, but that really shows leadership on your part. And a lot of times I only have to do it once, and then they won't ever jump on me again. Kind of shows that respect for me. But as you can see, she hasn't been jumping up on me. She's done really great with that. New people is where you're really going to have to make sure that you watch for it. Also, I try and make sure that she's not even jumping around me. I'll try and step into her, tell her down, off. Just making sure that she's not jumping. Oh, good girl. So the next one we'll talk about is chewing. And chewing is one of those behaviors that has to happen. Especially for, probably up to about a year old. She will be teething. She's starting to lose some of her baby teeth, as well as she'll be cutting molars, and so she just has to chew. And so the way that you train for that is with avoiding and replacing. if you can avoid giving her free access to toys, to shoes, to anything that she could chew up, of course that's your best way of preventing an accident. However, it's not really possible in your home. You always have something that she can chew on, whether it be a couch, a table leg, just random things. And so with that, that's where replacing comes in. If I saw her go up and she starts chewing on one of my soft beds or a pillow, I'll tell her no, and I would replace it with something soft. You're trying to meet that texture. And so if she were to go up and start chewing on a table leg or something hard, I'd give her a bully stick, something that she can really get her teeth into. She starts chewing on shoelaces, give her a rope, just try and meet her needs, because she does chew based on what she feels like her mouth needs. Now, there's also another side of chewing, and that's boredom. And so that's whether she's just laying down, maybe you guys are watching a show, reading a book, maybe working, and she's just bored laying on her bed, and she decides to get up and go find something to chew on. The way that I prevent that is if she's laying there, I'll just give her something to chew on. Let her lay there, chew on it for however long she wants. And then it brings up the second side of boredom, which is getting bored with her own things. So if I gave her something to chew on, she chewed on it for a few minutes, and then she got up and left, I'm going to immediately take away that toy or that chew. That way she's not going to get bored with her own things and go find something new to chew on. And so I never give her free access to any of her toys. Instead, I'll try and rotate them. I'll try and, as soon as she's done, pick it up, make sure that she doesn't have that free access. Good girl. Good girl, huh? Let's see. The next two manners deal with her mouth. And so, one, we really didn't have to work on a whole lot. And that's gently. I want to make sure that she's very cautious when she takes food out of my hand. I don't want to feel her teeth. This breed in general is very gentle, and so really didn't have to work on that. We would try and get her real excited so she would lunge after treats. And so if she does try and rear up, I would just pull it back and tell her gently. I'll also always give the treat in the palm of my hand, never between my thumb and forefinger. That way she's not going to bite my fingers. As well as if she did rear up, I can just immediately pull it away. And the last one, you actually did see me do. I don't know if you could hear it on the video, but that would be drop it. I'll let her pick this up, come back, and I'm just going to ask her, we'll let her take a hold of it again, and I'll just ask her, drop it. Good girl. I expect her to freely give it up. Now that is a lot easier done with toys than anything else. Bully sticks, she still does great with dropping it. Birds, however, is going to be one that you really need to work on. Using some quail, she did not want to let go of them. She likes the bird in her mouth, which is a good thing. And so I wouldn't be too harsh taking the birds away, or even if she holds on to it. I'd be patient with that just so you don't kill her drive. But there's a couple things that you can do. One is if she has something, if it's big enough, I'll take it on both sides, and I'm just going to hold it really still. I'll see if she'll hold on to this bully stick for me. But I just hold it really still, and she didn't want to give it up, and she's going to get bored with not being able to pull it around or move it how she wants it, and so a lot of times I'll just spit it out. If she didn't, I would just turn my knuckles in, and you're just pinching her lips against her canines a little bit, causing just a little bit of discomfort, and a lot of times they'll open their mouth and spit it out. The last one is the one that I do quite a bit with training bird dogs, and that's if they have something they don't want to let go of, I'll just sneak my thumb in there and I'll press down on their tongue. And you just go right behind her canines, and you can slip right in there and press down, and she's just going to open her mouth as wide as she can. Good girl. Drop it. Good girl. Good girl. Now, with drop it, a lot of times, if it's with a toy, I'm going to throw the toy immediately again. It's very positive for her letting go. She gets to chase it again. She drops a bully stick, I might give it back to her, let her chew on it a little bit longer, and then take it away again. Just make it so it's not always a negative experience when you take things from her. Drop it. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So that's it with our manners portion. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions. If not, we're going to move on to our commands. So the first two commands we're going to talk about are going to be our most basic, the ones that we teach from day one, and that's watch me and come. So watch me, the purpose of that is just to get eye contact. It goes back to what we were talking about with the greeting. If I have her eye contact, have 100% of her attention. And so you can already see that she makes great eye contact, but I want that command in place just to get that eye contact. Watch me. Okay, good girl. So if you can see that, she just quickly picked her head up and looked at me. The reason for that command is, one, it's kind of your backup command to come. It gets them to stop and look at you. So I always make sure that that command is very, very positive. I'll practice that one just a lot of times, just throw it in randomly. She's walking away, not looking at me, I'll just throw it in. And make sure that you always follow up with some type of reward. But that command can be used as simply as you're cooking, you drop something on the floor you don't want her to get, ask her to look at you. Same thing as if she's running out into traffic, you just need her to stop and look at you. And so that's why I always make sure that that command is super positive, there's always a reward and followed up, and so that it's just 100% all the time. We also use her name in a similar way. I expect her to look at me. Lady, okay, good girl. And I'll also use her name before I ask her to come to me. That way I get her attention and expect her to come. Lady, come! Good girl. Good girl. Now we have spent a lot of time on that command. Now we're going to run her outside, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. Okay, good girl. Okay. Just a reminder, she's waiting there at the door before she goes out as well as comes in. So we will talk about the house training in just a minute. We're going to get through the commands and then we'll go over that. But with come, so simply enough, just getting her to come to you. Now, especially as a hunter, that's like the most important command. You always want your dog to come back. And so we spent a lot of time on that. I like to keep a rule of 10 to 1. I'm going to call her to come to me 10 times with giving her a reward and basically letting her go again. For that one time, I have to call her to come, and maybe it's not so positive after the come command. And when I say that, I don't mean you're going to be punishing your dog, because you should never correct or punish your dog after a come command, because that'll just ruin it. But what I mean is, if it's time to go inside, or it's time to, you're done hunting, it's time to load up in the kennel, might not be, or I mean in the crate, might not be the most positive thing to happen. So, for instance, what I like to do is if you have a fenced-in backyard, go outside, you're just letting her run around and play. Every minute or two, call her to come, give her a treat, let her go again. Do that 9, 10 times. For that one time, you call her to come and you go inside. And I'll show you that again. I'll get her to come over here. Don't have a lot of space in the barn, but I can show you again outside if I need to. Just simply enough asking her to come. Lady, come! Good girl, good girl. And you can see that really quick response. That's exactly what I want. That's why I'll be really quick at giving her a treat. I'm not going to wait for her to sit in front of me or anything. Just going to present it, be really positive, never correct her when she comes. Otherwise you will just burn that come command really quick. Good girl, huh? So the next 3 commands, well actually 4 commands, have hand signals. There's 3 hand signals. First is sit, which is just a scoop over the nose. If it helps you remember, when I first taught her, we'd take that food bowl and we'd come up over her nose till her hind end went down, and then I'd mark it. And so the marker, of course, okay. So sit, down, I'll just take my hand flat, and then stay is a stop sign. So I'll bring her over here. Come here. I'll ask her to sit, down. Okay, good girl. Now, both of those do have stays. And so first I'll show you her sit stay. I'll just tell her, stay. And when you're using these stays, add in those 3Ds: distance, duration, distraction. She has a phenomenal stay for her age, but never be satisfied with it. Always strive to build that up. Okay, good girl. And I do like to switch it up. Not always releasing her when I'm away from her, but maybe walking back up to her and being right next to her, giving her the treat, and then releasing her. Now, her sit stays about 20 seconds with mild distractions. With some heavy distractions, she can do between 10 and 15, which is great. Her down stay is quite a bit shorter. I found a lot more success with building that up using her bed, having kind of that physical boundary. They're a little bit longer on there, so I'll show you that. Let her sit and down, stay. Okay, good girl. Now what I want to do at those stays is I want to build them up with really minimal distractions. Basically just what you saw there, very minimal distractions. And then as she gets a good solid stay like that, start adding in different things. We'll drop treats on the floor, we'll bring out a cat, we'll bring out another dog, just really adding in some good distractions, really building that stay. And so those are things that you can work on at home. Even having her stay, shooting, and then releasing her. That would be a great one to work on. Now the next two commands don't necessarily have hand signals, but they're similar in the way that I just put myself in a position where she can read my body language. So for instance, I'll tell her, go to bed. And I don't care what position she's in, as long as all four paws are on the bed, and then she is expected to stay without me actually having to tell her. Okay, good girl. And you can see that she does love that command. She'll go to bed. She will fly onto her bed. Okay, good girl. And the purpose of her bed is it's basically a portable crate. You can take that in different rooms where you're at. Gives her a place to relax, chew on something, kind of contain the mess if it's something that she can tear apart. But that's exactly what it is. You can also switch that for if you're doing waterfowl hunting. I use a place command. That same way, I'll put her onto a dog stand. So the next one, of course, is crate, and so I'll just tell her crate. I expect her to go in. I'll give her the treat when she's in, and she is expected to stay until released. Okay, good girl. Now the crate command is another one of those commands where I keep a lot of repetitions for the one time that you have to lock her up. Otherwise, if you just use that command when you're putting her away, she's going to get to the point where she doesn't want to go in because she knows you're going to lock the door, and it might be hours till she gets out. And so keep that one really positive. Handful of times in and out before you shut the door. So if you have any questions with any of those commands, let me know. She's done really well. I'm very happy with where she's at. So, and now we'll just talk about her crate training and then her house training, and then we'll finish off with her leash training. So for the crate training, we spent a lot of time making sure that she's comfortable in the crate, she's not going to have accidents, and she's not going to whine. And so right now, she'll sleep through the night, 8 to 10 hours. Oh, good girl, good girl. We put her to bed about 10 o'clock at night. Okay, good girl. And get her out between 6:30 and 7. And now she's also good for 4-hour blocks during the day. So if you need to run and do errands or you're going out to dinner, you can just put her in her crate and she should be just fine. Now she's done wonderfully with not having accidents as well as not whining. However, this transition period that she's going to go through usually lasts between 2 and 4 weeks. She may whine in the crate. Now, if she starts whining in the middle of the night, that probably means that she needs to go to the bathroom. With the transition, puppies often get a really loose stool, as well as just really stressful, and they usually have to go to the bathroom more frequently. And so if in the middle of the night she starts whining, I'd get up, let her out. Now she when you let her out in the middle of the night, it's just to go outside and then go right back in the crate. You don't want to let her run around or play. If you do that, then she's going to start thinking that she can just whine because she wants out of the crate, and we don't want that. Now, if she starts whining when you first put her in, which definitely might happen, just because she's enjoying being in your family, she's enjoyed being around you, and then it's time to put her to bed for the night, and she doesn't want to leave your side. And so if she starts whining immediately, what I'll do is I'll either throw a blanket over the top of the crate, that way it's dark, more den-like, or I'll give her something like a bully stick. The bully sticks are nice, they can chew it down, or even a marrow bone. Both of those I would give inside a crate. Those are the only two things that I would ever give them inside the crate. I'd never give her a rawhide or toys. But that'll just help her settle down, and you can leave that in there through the night. Now, the crate, I would use it as an asset, especially as you're transitioning her with the house training. Because the most important thing you can do with the house training in order to have great success is 100% supervision. That just has to happen. If you can't give her that supervision, put her in the crate. Use it as that asset. Now, I'm going to show you how to transition the bell, and I'm going to take the rest down because once I do this, she's going to want to keep ringing the bell, which is great. It's exactly what you want when you bring her home. When you transition the bell, you want a lot of repetitions, both of her seeing where the bell is, ringing it, and then going outside. So there's multiple ways to do this. You can use lures. You can rub some peanut butter or bacon grease on the bottom and let her seek it out on her own. Or you can do it the way that I'm going to show you. This is my favorite way to do it. I know Haley, who works with me, she loves the lure. And so the way that I do it is I'm going to get her to sit up, and I'm going to break up treats into a lot of small pieces because you're going to reward her every time she touches the bell. We call it targeting the bell. Come here. And so I'm just going to hold the bell out. Okay. And I'm going to reward her every time she rings it. Of course, these ones don't make a lot of noise. The ones that I send you will. But every time she touches it. Okay. And I'm going to have her actually have to reach out for him. And I'm going to make sure that she hits him. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Good girl. So what you're doing is you're just making it really positive for her touching the bell. Okay. Good girl. Good girl. Basically turns it into a game. And so after she's reaching out, hitting the bell really well out of your arm, I'm going to move over to the door. Come here. And I'll hang the bells on the door, and I'm just going to stand here and stare at them. Okay, good girl. And let her ring them off the door. Okay, good girl. Once she's really hitting them, okay, good girl. Like she is now. Okay, good girl. I'm going to switch the wording. And so now, when she hits it, okay, outside. Start emphasizing the outside word. Okay, outside. Good girl. Now when she hits it, I'm going to take her out. Okay, outside. Now she hesitates like that. It's just fine. She's just really processing it, which is great. You're allowing her to teach herself. Okay, good girl. Nope. Okay. Now she goes to break, just like that. I said, nope. Pulled her back, she jumped right back. She knew exactly what we were doing. Now, if I was doing this at your house, I would turn around, have her ring the bell 2 or 3 more times, go right back out. Do that 3 or 4 times, just getting a lot of repetitions. When I take her out, I'll take her by a leash and I'll take her where I want her to go. That way you can kind of pick where you're going to have to clean up. But you can only do that if she's on a leash. And what I'll do is I'll give her maybe a minute or 2 to sniff around. If she goes, I'll tell her, good outside, good girl, and I'll give her treats, I'll pet her, make it very, very positive. If she doesn't go, we're just going to come right back inside. And then turn around, have her do it a couple more times, go out. Once she goes, make it very, very rewarding. If she doesn't go, just come right back in. Now, after you do that little exercise, I would set a timer for 30 minutes. The reason for 30 minutes is because I want to stay ahead of her pee schedule. And like I said, the transition is going to make her have to go to the bathroom more frequently. And so I just want to stay ahead. I don't want to give her any opportunity to have an accident in the house. Every 30 minutes, I'll walk her over, I'll stare at the bell, give her time to really think and look what you're looking at and just try and figure out what you want. Most of the time it'll be really quick. You'll walk over, she'll ring it, tell her okay outside, take her out, give her an opportunity to go. She goes, it's very rewarding, very positive. She doesn't, come right back inside, reset that timer. Now I would keep 30 minutes for at least a full day. If she's in the crate, you don't need to worry about pulling her out when 30 minutes is up. Just, she can be in there, like I said, for up to 4 hours. Now, when she's out though, 100% supervision. Also, after that day of 30 minutes, start to lengthen it. Go to 45 minutes, go to an hour. 2 hours is our standard. And for the next 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks, I would make sure that she doesn't go over that, just so you don't have an accident. Let me start to lengthen that time. I'm also going to start lengthening myself between me and the bell. And so if you have a chair that's a couple feet away, sit in it, just stare at the bell. Try and get her really trying to think what you want. These dogs are so smart that she really will. She'll look at you, look where your eye contact is, she'll start to process, and she'll start walking closer, just trying to see what gets your attention. And so allow her to really teach herself. But yep, for the first day, every 30 minutes over, let her ring the bell, go outside. A couple of little things that are going to help you with the house training. One, I would limit her water. Where it's cooler outside now, you don't have to worry about dehydration. And so I'd give her water with her meals, and then 3 or 4 times throughout the day, give her a drink. If you're outside, that's fine. She can have unlimited water, but she's inside. I'm really going to restrict it, make sure that she doesn't have to pee more than she's already going to do. A couple things to look for. If she starts sniffing really heavily, take her over to the bell. If she starts doing circles, really get her over there. Same thing as soon as she comes out of the crate or wakes up from a nap, she's going to have to go to the bathroom, take her over. Within about 30 minutes to an hour after eating, she's going to have to go, so I would get her out. But really capitalize on those opportunities. But really, I can't stress the 100% supervision. You just have to give her that. Now, if she has an accident in the house and you don't witness it, there's nothing you can do. However, if you see her squat and start to go, I'm going to make a ruckus. I'm going to make sure that I basically scare her so there's a negative experience with that behavior, but a positive when she goes outside. And so I'll stomp, I'll clap, I'll no, and I'll grab her and just rush her outside. And if she finishes, then I'm going to turn it around and be real positive. And so she can kind of see the black and white there. So with the house training, if you have any questions, please let me know. And let me know as soon as they come up. Just because I want to help you with that. I've had a lot of people never have an accident in their house, and they just follow these instructions. I've had others that haven't followed the instructions and have had problems. And so I really want to help you out as soon as I can and just take care of the problem as soon as it comes up. Before we cover the leash work now, I also just want to tell you the food. So I feed her about 7:30 in the morning. I'll give her a cup and a half. And then at 6 o'clock at night, I'll give her another cup and a half. I try to be as close to 6 as possible because I put her away at 10. That way she has a good 4 hours to clear her system before she goes in the crate for the night. But please, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, we're going to talk about our leash work. So with the leash training, we take her on 2 types of walks. The first being a long lead or an off-leash walk. Hunting basically counts as that. What I'm doing there is I'm allowing her to be a dog, to run around, to sniff, to hunt or to play. And what I'll do is, if I'm not hunting, I'm going to call her back every minute or 2. I'll use that come command, give her a treat, let her go again. That way I'm really working on that come command. She's staying close and checking in, as well as it's very positive her coming back to me, she's getting a treat. When I'm hunting, she trails Allie, and when Allie gets too far, I tell her too far, and she'll turn around and come back. And so she started to follow along with that. She'd follow Allie back, but she was really great with staying close. But I do like to take them on that type of walk at least once, or if you're hunting more than that, great. But that's just really important for their mental health, to get out, to run around, exercise, and to play. Nope. Now, the second type of walk is our attention walk, and so that's if you're going for a family walk around the block or you're out in public. That's where I want her walking with a loose leash right next to me, keeping her attention on me and not on other things around, which that is extremely hard to do with a bird dog. They just want to put their nose to the ground and sniff, and so she's done really well with that, so I've been just thrilled. Now, with those walks, we do have 2 commands. The first is let's go, just signifying we're moving. The second is easy, and that's if she starts to pull. Now, if she does start to pull, I'm going to stop. I'm going to root myself. I'll tell her easy. I'll give her just a simple leash correction like we talked about, the 2 pops, and I expect her to put her attention back on me and put the slack back in the leash. A lot of times she'll turn around and walk right back to me, which is great. I'll try and set that up so that you can see. Try and get her to pull out there just a little bit so you can see that easy command, as well as you'll see how she walks next to me. The wind is blowing out there, so I'm going to apologize for the sound. I probably won't be able to talk. But please, if you do have any questions, let me know. I've just had a blast training her. She's just a wonderful dog. I think you're going to be happy with her. And hopefully I'll be able to come out, or you'll come out here and we'll be able to hunt over her together. So I appreciate your business, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Let's go. I do like to have her sit before I start. Come here. So I'm just going to tell her, let's go.